You are one of maybe 10,000 people left alive on Earth. Not 10,000 in your country, 10,000 total. Every human who will ever exist after this moment, every language, every war, every love song, every person who ever built anything, all of it comes from the small group of freezing, starving people standing around you right now, staring at a sky that hasn't been blue in 6 years. This isn't fiction. This actually happened. And almost nobody knows about it. About 70,000 years ago, our species came so close to disappearing that some scientists think we squeezed through a gap so narrow, it's almost embarrassing we made it out. You've heard of the dinosaurs going extinct, you've heard of the Black Death, but the event that nearly erased human as a word anyone would ever say again barely gets a footnote. Let's fix that. It starts on the island of Sumatra, with a volcano called Toba. And when scientists say supervolcano, they don't mean impressive. They mean a different category of disaster entirely. Mount St. Helens, the eruption Americans still talk about, ejected roughly 1 cubic kilometer of material. Toba ejected around 2,800 cubic kilometers. Not double, not 10 times, somewhere close to 3,000 times larger. Ash from that single afternoon has been found over 6,000 kilometers away, in ocean sediment off the coast of East Africa, drilled up decades apart by scientists who had no idea they were finding the same volcanic fingerprint. Now imagine you're alive when it happens. You don't know what a supervolcano is. You just feel the ground shake, and then the sky starts changing. Ash falls. Not like campfire ash, a thick, endless gray rain that gets into your food, your water, your lungs. The sun, the thing your entire existence runs on, starts to dim. Some researchers think this triggered a volcanic winter lasting years, maybe close to a decade, as sulfur particles blocked the sunlight. Plants that took generations to grow die in one season. The animals that eat those plants disappear. The animals you were hunting disappear with them. You're standing at the bottom of a food chain that's collapsing in real time. And there's nothing you can do except try to outlast it. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. In the 1990s, geneticists studying human DNA noticed something that didn't add up. Every human on Earth, every continent, every ethnicity is remarkably similar genetically. 2 chimpanzees living in the same forest have more genetic variation between them than a person from Norway and a person from Papua New Guinea. Sit with that for a second. We look wildly different. We speak thousands of languages. And genetically, we are one of the most uniform large mammals on the planet. Something at some point poured the human gene pool through a straw, and only a fraction made it out the other side. Anthropologist Stanley Ambrose put the pieces together. Toba's eruption may have caused such a severe collapse that the entire global human population crashed. Some estimates put the surviving breeding population somewhere between 3 and 10,000 individuals. Not per continent, on Earth. Smaller than the crowd at a mid-tier football game, scattered into isolated pockets. Each group having no idea if any other group had survived. Each one living out its own private apocalypse, with zero information about whether humanity as a whole was ending or just their patch of it. If that number is even close to real, it explains the genetic mystery perfectly. When a population crashes that hard, most of the genetic variation that existed simply vanishes with the people who didn't make it. Everyone alive today, all 8 billion of us, may descend from a group small enough to fit in a large auditorium. Every religion, every discovery, every person you've ever loved, all of it traces back through a gap so narrow, it genuinely could have closed completely. Now, scientists don't fully agree on how bad it actually was. And that's honestly the most interesting part. Some archaeological sites in India show identical stone tools directly above and below the ash layer, meaning life just continued there, uninterrupted. So the truth is probably brutal in some places and barely noticeable in others, entirely dependent on where you happen to be standing when the sky changed. If you were close to the eruption, your world may have genuinely ended. If you were far enough away, it might have passed as a strange bad decade, barely remembered. And here's the detail that stays with: where are the fire faces? The symbol for survivors had no idea what they were part of. They weren't thinking, I am currently deciding the genetic future of my species. They were thinking about food, about whether their kids would survive the winter, about whether the ash would ever stop falling. Survival at that scale isn't heroic the way movies show it. It's small, exhausting, repetitive decisions made by people with no idea they were the only thread the entire future of humanity was hanging from. Find water. Keep the children close. Repeat tomorrow. That was the whole plan. And it worked. We like to think human dominance on this planet was inevitable, like we were always going to end up here, building cities, arguing online about a volcano from 70,000 years ago. But your own DNA tells a quieter story, one where the entire future of the species rested for a few generations on a few thousand cold, hungry people who had no map and no idea they were ancestors. They just knew they were still, somehow, alive. And every ordinary thing you've ever complained about exists because that tiny, ash-covered handful of humans refused to be the last chapter.